Level 1 Summer Analyst. 383 Madison. 52 floors. Your badge doesn't work. You stand at the turnstile for 90 seconds while the morning rush moves around you like water around a rock. Security doesn't look up. You are furniture that hasn't been assembled yet. There are 40 of you on the floor. Within 72 hours, you know who went to Harvard and who didn't. Nobody says it. You just know the way you know which chairs are saved and which are free. By instinct. By the way, certain people don't move when others enter a room. The stipend is $17,000 for 10 weeks. That's $1,700 a week. The Shake Shack on 47th pays $18 an hour. The math takes 30 seconds and you only do it once because once is enough. You send a deck to the wrong distribution list. Your VP doesn't yell. He just resends it himself without telling you. No message, no correction. He just does it. That's worse than yelling. Yelling would mean you exist. By week 4, you understand what the return offer actually measures. Not the decks, not the hours. Whether the VP can tolerate your presence in a car at midnight, whether you fill silence well or badly, whether you make senior people feel comfortable or observed. Nobody tells you this during the debrief, but that's what they're scoring. You get the offer, you accept before they finish the sentence, you check your email at 2 a.m. that night, not because anyone told you to, because the silence feels like a trap you haven't identified yet. Level 2 Analyst. $110,000 base. After New York taxes, rent in Murray Hill, and the suit you bought to look like you belong, you are saving $340 a month. The guy doing operations on the 3rd floor is saving more. He leaves at 6. You leave when the VP leaves when the MD leaves, the MD leaves when the client stops calling. People back home stop asking questions. The title does the work, you let it. You work 90 hours a week on materials that get changed an hour before the meeting. You are not learning finance. You are learning how to look awake. You are learning how to read a room at 1 a.m. when everyone in it is performing alertness for everyone else. There are 12 analysts in your group. 3 will be asked to stay. You don't know the number. You sense it the way you sense weather before it changes. The stack ranking happens in a room you are not in, about a body you cannot defend. You find out your placement when your staffer starts giving you easier work. Nobody says anything, the work just gets lighter. That's the signal. The analysts who leave for private equity are not the smartest in the group. They're the ones who got the right email introductions. You were never on that list because your MD never said your name in the right room. You didn't know the room existed. That's the part they don't mention in the recruiting presentation. You survive. 3rd year, associate offer. You are still here. This feels like winning. The ranking happens in a room you will never be in. Level 3, associate. You move to a 1-bedroom. You buy the mattress you've been looking at for 2 years. You sleep on it for 4 hours a night. The base is $175,000. Bonus target is 50 to 100%. Your bonus comes in at 30. Your VP's assistant mentions, offhand, that a peer in industrials got 80. You spend 6 days reconstructing what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't have the right VP saying your name in the right room at the right moment. The game is the same game. The stakes are larger. Associates are the translation layer. You translate analyst panic into VP language. You translate VP anxiety into client-ready slides. You are not making decisions. You are making decisions look like they were already made by people who were already certain in rooms that never doubted themselves. You present to a client. The MD interrupts you after 45 seconds and finishes your slide. Not aggressively, the way someone takes over a conversation at a dinner party when they're bored. He isn't trying to humiliate you, he just forgot you were there. The MBA associates who came in lateral are more confident than you. You used to think it was because they were better. It isn't. It's because they don't know what they don't know yet. You've already learned to be afraid. You learned it from the inside. That's the real cost of being promoted from within. You arrive at each level already carrying the anxiety of the one below it. Your MD says, "We see you." You replay it twice on the subway home. Your girlfriend has already moved out by then. She said the apartment felt like a hotel you both happened to stay in. They see you. That means they've also been watching. Level 4, Vice President. The card says it, LinkedIn says it, your parents say it at dinner. None of them know what it means from the inside. From the inside, it means you are accountable for everything you cannot control. The analysts, the client, the MD's anxiety, the pitch, the timeline, the call at 11 p.m. with a client who is wrong. You cannot tell him he is wrong. You have to make him feel right while steering him away from the wrong. This is called client management. It is also called something else. You know what it's called. All-in comp, $400,000. After tax, after the nanny, after the mortgage on the apartment you needed when you got the promotion, you are cash flow negative 3 months of the year. You make $400,000 and you are cash flow negative. The lifestyle scales with the title. That's not an accident. That's the architecture. You get invited to the MD offsite. Scottsdale, golf. You do not golf. You buy clubs at the airport. $340. This is also called client development. Nobody laughs because nobody is joking. An analyst on your team gets poached by a hedge fund for more than your base. You write him a recommendation. You mean every word. You sit with what you feel for about 10 minutes and then you have a 4 p.m. Your son is 3. You know this because your phone says his birthday is tomorrow. VP is where the machine tests whether you will break quietly or loudly. The ones who break loudly are managed out. The ones who break quietly get promoted. You already know which one you are going to be. You are accountable for everything you cannot control. Level 5, Executive Director. You are 38. Your back hurts. Not from anything specific. From chairs. From posture. From a decade of conference rooms and red-eye flights and hotel gym equipment you keep meaning to use. Executive Director. The title sounds like a destination. It isn't. It's a holding pen senior enough to be expected to originate business. Junior enough that MDs still take your clients when the relationship gets large enough. You generate, they harvest, comp, $650,000 all in a good year. Real calculation, 2 kids in private school at $85,000 each, a mortgage, alimony, and 70-hour weeks to maintain a lifestyle that only exists because of the 70-hour weeks. The circle is tight, it doesn't open. Headcount gets cut. You have to let one person go from your team. You know who it is before the conversation starts. You've known for 3 weeks. You have the conversation on a Wednesday morning. You go back to your desk. You have a 2 p.m. Below ED, the question was, are you good enough? At ED, the question changes. It becomes, do you make the people above you feel safe? These are not the same question. Nobody told you this. You figure it out after losing a client you'd spent 4 years building, realizing you'd never made your coverage head certain enough about you to protect it when it mattered. You are passed over for MD in the first cycle. Your coverage head says next year. You've been in the business long enough to know what next year sometimes means. You have a divorce. Second cycle, it goes through. Email arrives on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. You forward it to your mother. You generate. They harvest. Level 6, Managing Director. $1.2 million in a strong year. The number stopped producing a feeling somewhere around $600,000. You are now optimizing for a score that no longer corresponds to anything emotional. You keep score because that's what's left to measure. You have a book. You are the book. If you leave, you take it, which makes you valuable, which makes you a target, which means the two things are the same thing at this level. Jamie Dimon's name comes up in the operating review. Not directed at you, near you. You are in the room where that sentence is said. That's the only real currency at this level, not the comp, not the title. Proximity, which room you're standing in when the name gets said. A younger MD in your group is being positioned as the new face of the practice. He's 35, his clients are smaller, his visibility is greater. You are the senior, he is the favorite. You assumed MD was protected. It isn't. There is no tenure. The protection is your revenue, and the year your revenue softens, which it will, once, for reasons partially outside your control, you will feel exactly what you thought you'd left behind at the associate level. The machine does not remember last year. It runs the current quarter. That is the only quarter that exists. Your largest client calls your coverage head directly to discuss the next mandate. You find out from a calendar invite you weren't on until someone added you late. You say nothing. You already know what you need to do. Your daughter graduated. You were there. You checked your phone twice during the ceremony. She saw. Your name is in a succession document you weren't supposed to see. Someone tells you anyway. That's how JPMorgan communicates good news. Directly is for bad news. You are in the room where that sentence is said. Level 7, Operating Committee. Monday morning, same building, same elevator bank, different badge. The elevator doesn't ask for a floor. It takes you there. Nobody speaks. The silence is institutional. You've been writing it for 6 weeks, and you still haven't decided whether the silence means confidence or exhaustion. 11 people in this room globally. The decisions made here are not financial, they're structural. Who survives a restructuring? Which franchise gets cut? Which MD's name gets said or doesn't? You were on the other side of this calculation for 20 years. Now you run it comp, somewhere between 10 and 30 million, depending on the year, your standing, and factors that are never made fully explicit. You know what you made. You also know the person 2 seats to your left made approximately twice that. The math still matters. It always mattered. It just has more zeros now, and the feeling that used to attach to it is gone. An MD you mentored 15 years ago, whose name you said in rooms, whose promotion you pushed for, whose first major deal you staffed him on, is on the list for elimination in a coverage rationalization. You are in the room, you say his name once, it isn't enough, you move to the next item on the agenda. You are not at the top of the ladder. You are at the top of the current configuration. The ladder resets when leadership changes, when strategy shifts, when a new structure gets handed down from somewhere above even this room. There is no arrival. There is only the current version of the machine and where you sit inside it today. Your son texts on your birthday and major holidays. A new class of summer analysts arrives in June. You cross the lobby on a Tuesday. Your badge reads before you reach the turnstile. The gate opens before you touch it. One of them is standing there, bag too new, badge not reading. Security doesn't look up. You keep walking. The machine doesn't stop. It just gets new parts.